Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video from Amar Talks NRL SuperCoach. In today's video, we're going to be going through a custom-made spreadsheet that I've made over the off-season that is hopefully a helpful resource for a lot of you players out there. Some of you have already watched the content. If you're a brand new viewer, do please consider subscribing as well, and do like the video if you do enjoy it. But more importantly, last year I made a 2023 kind of draw sorting difficulty and a round one team picker spreadsheet. I've replicated the same thing for 2024. So this will let you choose a team for round one. If you don't have access to SuperCoach Plus, this has the same player positions and prices as what that mode currently has. So you can have access to that prior to Australia Day. This also does let you do a draw difficulty sorting. So if you want to see who's got the best draw to start the season, say for the first 4 rounds, this spreadsheet has a way to do that. In a separate spreadsheet though, the one that I'm actually going to be going through today, what I've added to this spreadsheet though is a bit of a trade planner. So last year, this is something I wanted to do, just didn't really have the functionality nor the time to actually be able to create it. Because it was a bit easier to replicate last year's spreadsheet, had that time to actually add that new functionality though of a trade planner. So this will be available in 2 separate spreadsheets. One spreadsheet will be the same as last year, which will be the draw difficulty sorting and also the round one team picker. And a new updated spreadsheet will have, in addition to both of those things, the ability to do a future trade planner. So I'll go through all of those 3 functionalities though for you if you're a new listener and you weren't familiar with what last year's spreadsheet did. So here's what the spreadsheet does. This one includes the trade planner. And so as I've outlined here, 3 main functionalities: round one team picker, the trade planner, and also the draw sorting difficulty. So it all really starts from the round one team picker. So if you go to this tab here, round one team picker, looks very similar to what I had in last year's, which was, you could choose every position and it has the draw for each particular round. So this is at the moment showing the round one view. Don't pay too much attention to the players, to be honest. I've just put in some players who I've been thinking about as well. This isn't an official kind of team reveal or anything like that, but I've just made a team that actually fits within the salary cap, which is currently 11.65 million, and has updated player prices and the round one draw. If you're interested, you can also change this to a future round view, but the main purpose of this is to build a team for your round one squad. You can change player positions, very straightforward. You just have to type in. So let's say you don't want to go Reece Walsh. Let's say you want to start with a proven former gun in James Tedesco. You can do that. His play price will update, and it also shows now that his round one game is against the Broncos at home. Although noting that in round one, a few games are actually going to be in Las Vegas, not quite at home in Sydney. But that's one part of the spreadsheet. And this is a very simple thing that you can do. You can play around with the spreadsheet. Bronson Seri, someone from the Bulldogs. Maybe you want to change to, I don't know, someone like a Brian To'o. I don't have him in the spreadsheet. Just type in, don't type in type in To'o apostrophe, and then he'll come in there. Of course, you need to make sure that you're within the salary cap, but this is a very straightforward function of the spreadsheet, but this is a very crucial tab for all your trade planning. And so that's the round one team picker, very simple. The other 2 parts of the team picker that kind of flow on from here, I've got the team picker 3 round view. So very similar. This will just link to that previous tab in terms of the players that you've already selected, but instead it will just show you the kind of the next 3 rounds that player has. So Brendan Hands, for example, so Parramatta Eels, it has Bulldogs round 1, Penrith round 2, and then Manly in round 3. And then even further than that, there's a team picker extended view. This actually shows you, again, the same team as your round 1 team picker team, but this shows you the entire draw for that team. So, for that player, I should say. So you can kind of scroll ahead here and you can see, you can scroll ahead here and you can see that you've got the entire draw for that particular player if you want to have a bit of a longer term view. So it's not quite the trade planner, but for people who have the spreadsheet that doesn't include the trade planner, you still get some idea as to kind of the upcoming draw for your particular player. The other element of the spreadsheet that was the same as in last year's was the draw sorting. So this is the 2024 draw. I've updated this now to replicate the current draw. This has the draw for each team for the entire season. The color formatting that I've chosen is very simply kind of more based on the kind of top, the ladder from last season. So for example, I've got Penrith and the Broncos in the darkest form of red. Then I've got teams like the Warriors, the Knights, Melbourne, who kind of form the kind of positions 3 to 5 in a slightly lighter shade of red. Then I've got a lot of teams kind of in the middle there, like Parramatta, Manly, Roosters, Cowboys, Rabbitohs. Then you've got some of the easier teams based on the ladder, such as the Titans, the Dolphins, and then the easiest opposition based on last season's performances. So it's kind of the Bulldogs, the West Tigers, and the Dragons. So this color formatting is my own. You can change this as well if you go to data, and if you go to if you go to format, conditional formatting. My formatting is kind of currently in there, but you can make your own adjustments as you see fit. But what's more important though is, I guess, the actual sorting function. So if you wanted to actually sort the draw by difficulty for the first 4, 6, or 8 weeks, the tabs that you would do it will be in sortable 4 rounds, and then the next two after that are 6 rounds and 8 rounds. They work the exact same way, so I'll just demonstrate on the 4 round view. The way that this works is based on sorting each particular round by a number value. So this does some formulas and other stuff. I've hidden some extra rows of calculations, but they're not really that important for you to see. All you need to really see is how do I sort the difficulty of this. So let's say for the first 4 rounds, you want to see which teams have got the best start. You just simply go to row 21, and if you want to see it from round 1, you click on here and you just have to sort from Z to A. So the way that I've done the scoring is that the higher the number, the easier the draw. So doing Z to A will order it from kind of highest number down. So that then will update the top section here. So based on my own ratings, you can see that the Dragons apparently have the best 4-round start. Titans, Dolphins, Cowboys, and Manly at home. Whereas in comparison, you've got Melbourne, who've got Penrith, the Warriors, Titans, and then a bye. So they only play 3 games in the first 4 weeks, and 2 of those games is a pretty tough matchups in Penrith and the Warriors. So that's kind of just really how the sorting works. You can do this for future rounds as well. Let's say you want to have a look at a 3-round view. Let's say you want to look at a 4-round view starting from round 3. You just need to go to the round 3 column and do the same thing. So from what we can see here, based on this, Parramatta now have the best draw from rounds 3 to 6 because they've got Manly, West Tigers, Canberra, and the Cowboys. So fairly favourable set of matchups there. Someone I'm looking at here, like the Cowboys come a little bit higher, Dragons, Titans, and Parramatta, but they do have the Broncos. So obviously I've rated the Broncos as quite a difficult opposition. So if you wanted to make your own kind of custom ratings, if you've got a slightly different view to how I've done my difficulty scoring, that goes into this tab here, difficulty key. So I've done it very simply as on the from the 2023 season ladder. So Penrith number 1, Broncos number 2, and so on and so forth. You can make your own edits here. So if you think Penrith actually aren't going to be the juggernaut that we've seen over the last 3 years, and you think they're going to be a little bit worse off, you can make them rated as maybe the 3rd most difficult. So you just need to change for both the capitalized pen and the lowercase pen. Capitalized basically means that that's Penrith at home, and lowercase is away. So you can change both of these numbers to 3, and then you make your other adjustment where maybe you think it's Melbourne actually. You make then Melbourne number 1 for both of the Melbourne categories. Those will then feed into the tabs with the sorting difficulty, and that's then based on your own custom ratings. I made a note of it up here. It won't actually change the color formatting though, based on these scores, but it will show you the kind of the sorting and the layout of the teams will change based on the numbers that you put in here. The color formatting you just may have to change yourself, but it's not as, I guess, important as seeing the actual layout of the teams. So those 2 functionalities, the round 1 team picker and the draw sorting difficulty, same as what I had in last year's spreadsheet, and I'll be making that available as a standalone spreadsheet. What I really want to get into though is the trade planner, which I think is quite exciting functionality that's been added now as well. So that's this tab here, trade planner. So it's a little bit more action going on here in terms of what's happening, but obviously lots of stuff to keep track of. We've got a 25-man squad that we're trying to plan trades for. So what this basically is in the name, it's a trade planner. So it lets you see your team over future weeks, and it lets you make kind of, future trades, and you can kind of pre-plan when you may want to be thinking of putting in a boost, when you may be doing a 3-trade boost. You can also even maybe potentially preset who you may want to captain and vice captain in future weeks. So this has been split into position by position. That's in the below part, which is more the actual planner. And up here is kind of more of a summary section where it's got a summary of your total trades remaining, who you've decided to captain for that week and vice captain, and also who you've traded in and out for that week. You'll notice there's nothing there in that particular part for trade in and outs for round 1. That's because round 1 we have unlimited trades until lockout. It's only from round 2 onwards where you actually start dipping into the total trades that you have. At the moment I've got 46. That's just based on last year. That number could change. We haven't got the finalized kind of update of 2024 SuperCoach yet, as I'm recording on 4th of January, and that's probably more likely to come out on Australia Day or around Australia Day. So you can see here, if I go to the planner section of this sheet, round 1, this also mirrors exactly what you had selected in your round 1 team picker, so that then links to here. And for each player, it will show you that particular matchup for that week. So Brendan Hands has the Bulldogs at home, rated as an easy fixture, and it's got his current price. One thing I will note is that we only have these prices at the moment for round 1. These prices will start changing after round 3. That's something I haven't quite solved for yet. I think the easiest way will be that each week when the player prices get released, I can drop them into that spreadsheet, or I can set it up into a file format. That's very easy then for someone who's downloaded a copy of this to just copy paste into one of the backend sheets, and that will then update for the future rounds. But yeah, so basically, very simply, it's just a trade planner. So if I wanted to say in round 2, we'll do a walkthrough of an example. So let's say in round 2, you decide you started with Joe Taps in front row forward in round 1, 656k. You thought he was value. Not that I wish this on him, but let's say he picks up a knock in round 1 and he's going to be out for round 2. We're going to have to make a change there. So let's just say hypothetically, you really liked what you saw from Max King at the Bulldogs. So all you need to do, you type in Max King's name, he'll come up there. He then gets highlighted in yellow, and that shows that he's a new trade into your team. And for future rounds, Max King will then become the player in your front row forward 1 position. And so then his draw will then feed through here. And if you go up here, you can see then that of your 46 trades that you started with, you now had 45 trades remaining, and you've traded in Max King and you've traded out Joe Tarpany. So that's a very simple example of how you can use this. One thing I will say though is if you change your trade, if you want to go back to someone like Joe Taps, I think the easiest thing to do would be to Control Z to undo and go back to Joe Taps. Or if you decide to type in Joe Tapany's name back in, I would just say make sure it equals the cell of the name in the previous round column. So you can see here in the cell it's E32. That basically equals to this. That would just mean that the formula can keep working for the future rounds to make sure that that player is getting picked up in the future weeks as well. But for now, let's say it's Max King is who you're going to have, and you're set on that trade, and you're going to make that trade in round 2. Let's say now you actually decide to use a boost for that week. Let's say you've seen enough in round 1, you want to try to get ahead of the pack and bring in some guys before the inevitable price rises. There's no functionality to actually enable you to do three trades or extra trades. You can just do it. You could technically change all 25 players if you wanted, but obviously in practice that wouldn't actually happen. But more of a kind of a way for you to check, do a self-check of when you think you might use a boost. If you go to row 15 here, it says boost 3 trades and boost 4 trades. The 4 trade option is really only one that's available in the major bye weeks when you can actually get an extra trade out of your boost. But in the normal weeks, when you boost, you get up to 3 trades when the normal is 2 trades. So let's say I decide to use a 3 trade boost in round 2. You can see then the row below it in 16 now updates to say that you've got 4 boosts remaining. And remember, we start with 5 based on the 2023 rules. So technically you are okay to make 2 extra trades. So let's say you want to change Tedesco back to someone like, say, a Reece Walsh. So you want to go Reece Walsh, and let's say you started with Dylan Brown, or maybe you started with Cleary or Hines. Let's say hypothetically maybe they're out for round 2. You don't want to have that much money sitting there. Let's say it's Cleary and you want to go to someone like Sean Johnson. Just type in Sean Johnson's name, and now you can see there you've got Reece Walsh in your future weeks at your fullback 1 spot, and you've got Sean Johnson coming in as your second halfback in your future weeks as well, and his draw updated as well. And so up here, you can see you've got your 3 trades that have been used. Your ins have been Max King, Sean Johnson, Reece Walsh, and your outs are Joe Tarpany, Nathan Cleary, and James Tedesco. And so now you've used 3 trades for that week, and you've got 43 trades remaining. That's literally the trade planner. So you can go for future weeks and you can keep making those changes. Maybe round 3, you want to use another boost, because I know it's a very popular strategy for people to do. Let's say you go 3 trade boost, and let's say I'm going to make some mass changes. Sean Lane hasn't been working out, so let's go for someone like a Sia Wong, maybe from the Roosters, who's also maybe a similar budget pick. Josh Curran, it doesn't seem to be working. Let's maybe go for someone who's a little bit more tried and trusted, a fallen gun perhaps, maybe someone like an Angus Crichton. I know he comes in fairly cheap at the beginning of this season. And maybe let's make one more change, maybe something in our center wing. Let's say, I don't know, Dean Mariner, you thought you took a punt on at the beginning of the season. He's not working out. Maybe you go for like a Ronaldo Mulatalo from the Sharks. Maybe you like what you've seen out of the Sharks, and it's a good matchup that week with the West Tigers as well. So those are your 3 trades now you've made. You've traded out Sean Lane, Josh Curran, and Dean Mariner for Sia Wong, Angus Crichton, and Ronaldo Mulatalo. And your salary does get updated currently as well. So you use another 3 trades, and you're now sitting on 40 trades remaining. So that's the functionality of the trade planner. It just hopefully is a nice clean way for you to try to pre-plan some trades when you think you might want to do some boosts. And to show what I was talking about before, if you wanted to change anything here, you wanted to go back to someone like Sean Lane, easiest way is probably just to go back to making the cell equal the previous Sean Lane column. So let's do the same with Josh Curran. Wrong cell. Let's go back from Angus Crichton to Josh Curran. And let's keep going from Mariner to Mulatalo. The only thing there, of course, is you've only used one trade. Just make sure that you deselect the boost 3 trade option, because you actually haven't used a boost now. So we can do that there. And so we've basically said we still have 4 boosts remaining. We've only used the 1 trade for this week, and it's been to bring in Ronaldo Mulatalo. Probably the only thing I would show you in this trade planner is once you get through future weeks, just to help kind of clean up the actual the view of the spreadsheet. If you go to the top here where my mouse is, you can just hide some of these columns so that you can hide the earlier rounds that have now passed. So let's say you've made those trades, you're now sitting in round 4. Just to help clean up your view, just hit these buttons here. There you go, should be working. There you go. Yep, so you can group together those earlier rounds. So now when you open this tab, you're looking at round 4. The formulas and things will still work, but it just helps kind of clean up your view. So that's really the trade planner. It will work for all future rounds as well, split by position. And as I say, hopefully it's a useful resource for any of you guys out there who are a little bit more kind of strategy based, want to use your trade planning, and you do that trade planning in a little bit more detail. So what I've been thinking in terms of the actual pricing for this, so last year what I had was the spreadsheet with the team picker and the draw sorting. That was $3. Given the time it's taken me to make this additional update, I'm going to sell that particular spreadsheet as it was from last year, but I'll up it to a minimum of $4. Obviously, look, if you're super generous and super kind, and I really do appreciate it, anything above $4 is fine, but I thought $4, nice round number that buys me a cup of coffee. $4 minimum will be absolutely fine to get the spreadsheet with the draw sorting functionality, and also for the round 1 team picker. If you want the added functionality of the trade planner, I'll have that sold in a separate spreadsheet, which does also include the other 2 functionalities. And I'll say for that one, minimum $8. Get me 2 cups of coffee for that one, because it did take a little bit extra time to do the trade planner. But that one, minimum $8. Obviously, anything above that, generosity is obviously very much appreciated. But that's kind of the pricing that I was thinking of doing for these 2 spreadsheets now that I'll be offering for the preseason. So hopefully you'll enjoy that little tutorial. I'll set up some links and stuff on my socials. Do give me a follow on Twitter. I'll put a link for that in the description below as well. Do subscribe to the channel if you are interested in NRL SuperCoach and you haven't played, or if you're a repeat viewer and this is the first time you're watching my content, do please consider giving a subscribe as well, and do please like the video as well if you do enjoy it. Hope you'll enjoy this and get a lot of value out of it. But until then, see you in the next video.